Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Bismarck Human Relations Committee. My name is Jason Gruneich, the current chair. The Bismarck Human Relations Committee is scheduled to meet in regular session on Monday, January 22nd at 5:15 in the 4th floor Mayor's Conference Room, City County Office Building 221 North 5th Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. HRC mission. The purpose of the Bismarck Human Relations Committee is to create an atmosphere of inclusion, equality, and accessibility through education and outreach to recognize the value of a diverse community. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order.
Player devil.
My ring.
Ring doctor.
We're going to open up agenda item number 1 and open the floor for public comment. Do we have any public comment online? None online, seeing none in the room. We'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to agenda item number 2, introduction of new members. So this evening, if you hadn't noticed, we have some new people joining us. So what we'll do, if you prefer, we can go around and introduce ourselves a little bit, give you a little background on what we do in the community and how we're involved, and then it'll be your turn to just do a quick little introduction, nothing too crazy. So we're gonna start off on my left with Sarji.
We should start down there.
I'm Sarji Nowitzki. This is my second term on the committee. I'm just re-elected. I am the lead operations officer for Community Options. We provide services to people with developmental disabilities. And 5 years ago, I started my own nonprofit as well. It's called Arts for All. We provide art opportunities at no cost, specifically for individuals that are low income, at risk, or have developmental disabilities. I sit on a number of committees in the community, including the Bismarck ARC, Fit for Victory, the Bismarck Stilettos. And my most proud accomplishment over the past year is T and I started our own podcast through this committee called These Are Your Neighbors.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Tia Jorgensen. I work full-time for the National Guard. Just recently closed a fitness studio that I've owned for 10 years. I co-host the podcast with Sargiano, which is probably the coolest thing I've gotten to do since here. But I also sit on a number of boards, and I'm involved in a number of nonprofits, primarily focusing on the veteran space, New American space, Parkinson's. And then, I just officially started my French club for the city of Bismarck as well, too. So that's me.
I'm Gabby Avlosely. I am a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant at Stanford Health, and then I also run our internationally educated nurse program, and then have a finance role as well. And then I've been on this committee for a year now. And then outside of this, I am on the board of the Young Professionals Network, currently the vice president for that. I sit on the State Health Equity Committee through Department of Health and Human Services, and then I'm on the board for the Bismarck Mandan Symphony Orchestra.
I'm learning new things. Like, I love this. My name's Sashay Scheller, but everybody calls me Sassy, so. I'm the Indigenous Education Director for Bismarck Public Schools. Really engaged with providing opportunities for Indigenous youth to empower and empower them to thrive, which is so cheesy because it's our BPS, slogan. So I find myself saying it pretty often. But yeah, I just got a new puppy. His name is Loki, and he's an Irish Wolfhound. So when I say puppy, he's already about this big. Yeah, I'm a citizen of the MHA Nation, specifically Nuita and Hidatsa.
It's okay if I go or do Carl? Well, hi, everyone. So my name's Katie Houle. I work for the State Behavioral Health Division. And so I'm focusing on a really large grant initiative called System of Care, which I won't bore you all with it, but really thinking about our children's behavioral health service array and how we really need to make a lot of infrastructure change to take a really cross-system approach, right? We know that a lot of our children that have complex behavioral health needs are the gateways to treatment are in juvenile justice and child welfare. I'm a licensed master social worker, so I have all of my professional background has been predominantly in behavioral health as a clinician. I was working at St. A's Hospital in inpatient psychiatry as a social worker, and I was just sitting there bubbling and waiting to think about much more big systems and policy related issues. And so I'm just really passionate about wellness and what it means to be connected to like self and family and community and culture. Obviously, a lot of that in relation to our behavioral health system. I am a mom of two. I have two kiddos. I have an 18-month-old and a 5-year-old. And I'm just excited to be here. I'm a transplant to North Dakota. I grew up on the East Coast. So I'm very nomadic. I've been to lots of different places, including living overseas, but I'm married into the state and I'm here to stay. So I grew up outside of Washington, DC. And yeah, I just want to be involved in my community outside of my professional life. I feel like within this grant work, I'm leading and pushing steering committees and bringing the Human Service Center, all these people together, but I also wanted to belong to a committee. And so I saw this and I just felt like it really aligned with my personal and professional values, and excited to just learn from all of you and be engaged as possible. I have a busy family life, but I really want to be a volunteer and serve this committee in any way that I can. So I am a nerd about behavioral health. So anytime you want to talk to me about mental health or substance use, I'm there.
Would you like to be on the podcast?
I've never been on a podcast, maybe one day.
Carl Young, been in and out of the Bismarck community all my life. Run a nonprofit that do family peer support, which isn't a thing yet in North Dakota, for families that have neurodivergent kids, specifically autism and fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. I am on the ARC of Bismarck. I'm the chair of the board for that organization. I'm on the committee for protection and advocacy and the Behavioral Health Planning Council. My wife and I raised 5 kids to adulthood. We have 3 grandsons, all living in Minot. The rest of the kids live down here, and one's living in Fargo. Beyond that, at the national level, I'm on the executive council for the Affiliate Advocacy Network for FASD United. FASD is fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, of course, and I do a lot of education and advocacy regarding that condition at the state and national level. A lot of it. Yeah. And it's not going to be long before your kids want to borrow the car. It goes faster than
I know.
My name is Jason Grunike. I am the current chair of the Bismarck Human Relations Committee. I work for the state also at the DOT and the driver's license division, operations manager for the state. Vastly different from what I did for 20 years, which was running nightclubs, restaurants, and hotels. I've had pulled off of most every board and committee that I'm on, except for this one. As of this year, I just got funding to start the first ever HIV nonprofit for the state. I helped create and develop the peer navigation program for HIV with the state health department. And I'm a peer navigator with that. I work in the houseless community, LGBT community, and HIV community, and substance abuse community across the state. So it was going to be a quiet year until this funding came through. So it's going to be an interesting year, but very excited.
This is the first year I've had funding.
Yeah. They've been waiting to get into our state for 40 years. So we've
Good
never
deal.
had an
About
HIV. Yeah. So it's going to be a whirlwind, but a very exciting one. And I think this is my first term because I was finishing an unexpired term on this committee, and it's just been a blast to be here. And I really, you said finding a purpose or a purpose for yourself. This has really given me one here with the city. It's cool. I grew up here and left for 20 years, and so to come back and be able to be a part of this has been amazing. So. Jason, it's your turn.
So,
Are we recording?
so I'm Jason Smonik. I am not on this committee. I do not vote. I am city staff. I am employed by the city of Bismarck. Officially, currently, I have two positions. I am the assistant city administrator, but I am also now the acting city administrator because our administrator retired on January 3rd and 2nd. His replacement has got to been for two hats.
Can we ask a question, or can I ask a question with that?
Sure.
So let's say you are no longer acting, you're an actual city administrator, you still on this committee, or does your replacement, who's the assistant, one sit on?
To be determined,
Okay.
I guess. With my job description as assistant city administrator, it doesn't have anything quite specific as to say you are the staff person for the human relations committee. So it's not that it's prescribed who it goes with, because actually when I started in this role in 2016, someone else completely different in our office was the staff person for this group. And that person wasn't the right fit, so I made that choice to say, you don't have to do this anymore, I'll do it instead. And then I brought Whitney with too. So now here we are.
31.
Well, welcome. Thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
joining us. Yep. Any questions at any time, feel free to reach out to any of us. Jason is a great communicator for all of us. Due to some of the laws, we try and not communicate too much with each other except through the city, just so we're not violating any.
Open meeting.
That's a good point. This group, because it is an official committee of the city, anything more than 5 members is noticed as a public meeting. So we try and avoid group emails unless it's coming from staff. Generally, they will be one-sided. We will not ask you, hey guys, what do you think about this? And then we're building consensus via email. The only time we would do that would be to say, would you be available for a special meeting on this date or that date? Otherwise, if we send you something, it's best just not to reply to all. We try to do blank carbon copies, so then even if you do reply to all, you're only gonna get staff on that. So we try not to do that a lot, but I mean, if two of you go to coffee because you're friends, fine, not a problem. We're not trying to interrupt your social structure here. We just want to make sure that the business of this committee is conducted at this table. That's all. And we're here to document it and make sure that everything is.
Take some pressure off of each of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anything gets a little out of the ordinary, we will make sure to step in and protect the integrity of this group. That's why we as staff are here. We wouldn't want you to meet without staff for fear of, well, you tell staff what to do and we get stuff done. And at the same time, we document through meetings and recordings and all of that. So transparency is what it really comes down to.
Or if we have outside events, because we do a lot of outside events in the community, and there's gonna be 5 or more of us, they'll just put out a release that basically says that we're doing this event, but there's not gonna be any business discussed.
We call it a special meeting because there's at least 5 of you simultaneously together. Now, does that mean you're going to discuss city business? No, not necessarily. So we just say for an event like Pride Festival, where there's likely going to be multiple people overlapping, just notice it as a meeting and say no business will be conducted. And then we don't have to be there as staff. We don't take minutes. We just say there's a good chance there's going to be a few of you in the same room simultaneously. At the end of the
Okay. Perfect. If everyone's all right with that, we can move on to agenda item 3. All right. So that leads us into election of officers. Every year we do an annual election of officers for chair and vice chair. And so that being said, at this point, we'll open up the floor for anybody interested to stand for nominations for chair or vice chair. Or let's just start with vice chair to start, or start with chair? What do you think? Chair?
Chair advice.
Okay, start with chair. We'll open up the floor, nominations, or anyone who wants to stand for the position. Just so you know, I am stepping down from this position.
So you wouldn't entertain a motion to keep the current slate of officers?
Any motion can be made in this committee at any time. I am not here to tell the committee what to do. I'm here to be a part of the committee, so.
I am definitely interested in stepping up into the chair role. That would be an option.
Okay, so we have one nominee on the floor for Tia. Anybody else interested? Do we want a quick synopsis of what this position actually entails to help
Yes.
you get a better understanding? So there is not too much to this position other than guiding the committee. So far, in my experience, it has been kind of setting an example of what the committee wants and making sure that the committee can follow through with that by setting that example. As chair, I've taken it upon myself to try and be at as many events as possible to kind of show that guidance and continuity between meetings when we're doing events. It is also reviewing the agenda before it's posted for all of us to make sure that there's not anything that was missed or that could be added. And then in general, kind of helping to guide all of us through communication and whatnot. So nothing too overly encompassing.
So it's not a full-time job.
It is not, thank goodness. I already have 3. Is there anything I'm missing, Mr. Tamanik?
I think that's a good overview. You would, the chairperson is also for staff, our first point of contact, if something were to come forward. If there was a group that said, hey, we want to get in front of the committee at its next meeting, can we do that? As staff, I don't want to be the one to say yes or no, so I would contact the chair and say, here's an opportunity, what do you think? The chair has also generally been responsible for presentations in city commission, not necessarily just the annual report, because I think Sarah has done that in the past. I have seen other chairs in my time here with the city that did get the annual report. So it's really, that can be decided year by year, I would say.
That is true. Part of our duty is to hold elected officials to the means of this committee. So at times we do go before the city commission to have conversations with them or present things to them.
If I may, Mr. Chair, this committee functions as an advisory board, meaning they hold monthly meetings, make ultimately recommendations to the city commission on things that the commission could consider, or, hey, here's a project that we're doing. Are you okay if we go forward with this? Those would be the types of things that would come in front of the commission. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Other than the humanitarian awards, probably 2 or 3 presentations tops.
Thank you for the clarification.
The next question, can I ask a question? Do we want to get the full slate of candidates for both positions and then vote on, or do we want to vote on each one individually?
I am open to whatever this committee feels is good. I usually would consider doing it one at a time, but if we want to do a slate, we can do a slate. What does the committee feel?
I think we should do one at a time.
Okay.
Better me.
Yep.
So do we, okay, I forgot how we did this last year.
We need a motion and a second.
I make a motion to elect Tia as the chair of the board. My words can't come out tonight.
Okay. I have a motion. I have a motion and a second on the floor. Do we want to open it up for discussion or vote?
I think we need to open up for discussion to see if there's anybody else interested in the role as well.
I appreciate that. That's what I was looking for also. So just for sake of discussion, was anybody else interested? Discussion, second time. Third time call. And I'm going to go ahead and ask for the vote. All those in favor then of Tia signify with aye. All those opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Madam
That's
Chair.
really awkward to be like voting while you're sitting there.
It's okay. Perfect. So as Tia was the former vice chair, this opens up the complete vice chair position for anybody who's interested. Do you want to give a little input on vice chair?
Yeah, pretty much you only really have to do things when the chair does it. And so I didn't do a whole lot additionally. other than facilitate the meetings when Jason couldn't be here. And I also, though, did my best to show up at the commission meetings and just have that presence as well. I think an important role for me, or important thing, was knowing that I'm gonna hold that position, that I'm gonna do my best to be at every event that I can be at. And just, yeah, I think the official responsibility is to step in when the chair is not.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that major role would be to conduct the meetings if the chair is gone.
So I'll open the floor for anyone who would like to stand for that or to put forward any nominations. Gabby? Okay. Call again. Is anybody else interested? Gabrielle, sorry, I always say Gabby, but
Gina,
Oh, Gabby is what.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, sorry.
okay.
This is like, I
I think that'd be a little bit more
Yeah, I know.
official. Because you're not gonna be the chair in a minute.
This is Gabrielle, and I'm trying to sound fancy.
I'll have one last call for nominations or anybody who's interested in standing. Hearing none. We will bypass discussion as we made some room for that, and I'll go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor of Gabby as vice chair, please respond with
Do we
that.
have a motion?
Oh, just
We
kidding.
need a motion and a
I'll
second.
make a motion.
second.
That's a motion from Carlos, second. Tia. Not enough. Thank you, Jason.
Problem.
Yep.
All those in favor,
I,
all those opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Gabby.
You would have
you
caught it.
guys sitting by each other, not for long.
All right. So thank you very much to the both of you for stepping up. Look forward to the leadership. You guys have a great night. All right. That moves us right to agenda item 4, approval of meeting minutes. Did everyone have an opportunity to look over the minutes? Any adjustments or corrections? Okay, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 18th.
Second.
That's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I,
All those opposed, same sign. Perfect. Meeting minutes are approved for the month of December. Agenda item 5, community conversations discussion. So I'm going to give a quick brief synopsis of what this agenda item is, and then we can roll right into that if everyone's all right. This committee had discussion and voted and came forward with the idea of having a public forum to discuss diversity and adversity within our community. Does that seem about right? A good income, okay? It has developed through the conversation. It started off of an idea where there was a hate crime ordinance that was brought to the city by an outside committee, not us. But at that meeting, some of the commissioners asked for more public conversation before they really could get an understanding of this. And this committee, as it felt that fell within our purview of how this committee functions, wanted to help facilitate a way to be able to bring more community conversations to an issue we felt really worked well with our mission of inclusion, equality, and accessibility through education and outreach to recognize the value of a diverse community. So at this point, we are barreling down the end of the road towards this community conversation at the end of February 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Veterans Public Library. And we have sent outreach letters to many diverse community members and organizations, asking them for some input on their feelings on this and inviting them to the event. And we have a lineup of panelists that will be hopefully up on the stage, being guided by a moderator and a possible co-moderator, correct?
And I'm a timekeeper.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So we'll have to discuss if you still want me to be moderator as I'm no longer. Okay. As I'm no longer chair. You all are hilarious.
I'm gonna keep in time.
You stepped down on that. Doesn't mean you're gonna step down from that.
Okay, so do you have any questions on any of that?
I don't think so.
Okay, perfect.
Have we gotten any feedback from anybody?
So that's kind of what we'll touch on tonight is feedback and then finalizing an outreach to the speakers. Because there was some miscommunication about who was going to be doing that, whether it was us or city admin. And so I will let you know that I kind of dropped the ball on that through the holidays. So I apologize for that.
Like
but-
there was nothing going on.
Yeah. So we will get that finalized tonight and have those invitations out by tomorrow. So Jason, I guess I will turn it to you. I don't know if you have access to, were there any responses yet?
There were 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. Sanford was a yes, and
Is this for the panel?
yes.
Oh, you already invited?
No.
But yeah, well, Brian Ritter's.
Yes, Brian Ritter was
Was
part of
one
the
of them.
panel. Yes.
Okay.
So,
And maybe you can refresh us just so Katie, is it Katie or Kate? Katie, yeah, thank you. Can get an understanding of all that were invited. I think I have it here.
Are we talking about panelists?
Yes,
Are we
the
talking-
panel.
Is there Kathleen Atkinson was one of them, right? Ryan Ritter,
Jasmine.
you have
Yeah.
Jasmine Thompson Smith,
Dan Eastgate.
like 5 of them.
It's in the minutes.
President McDonald. Wanted to call him Chairman McDonald. You like, yes. But thank you.
Did they say
All of
Dan
them.
Eastgate.
Don and Kate at the Downtowners were on the
Yes.
list.
Yeah.
And then backups were Mark Meyer with Heaven's Helpers, Erica Thunder, Holly Triska Dolly, and Jan Stankiewicz.
Okay.
So panel members to be invited, Dan Eastgate, Sister Kathleen Atkinson, Jasmine Tosseth Smith, President Leander McDonald, Don and or Kate from the Downtowners, and then Brian Ritter was confirmed.
Do you think, Jason, then if, like, if Brian's confirmed, I have good communication with Sister Kathleen and Jasmine, like, I could reach out to them to, like, do you want us reaching out, or do we want it to come from a city of Bismarck? The panel specific.
I think if we're going to reach out, we should have a script, that we
Right.
use.
I'll make this, but do you think the panel invite would be better coming from City of Bismarck email or those of us with the connections to them?
In my mind, go ahead.
I'd be more willing to say yes if someone reached out to me personally than the City of Bismarck.
Yeah, I think we can do it twofold. We can send an official email after we make a phone call. How does that sound? Or do either way works. I think an official email from the city so they know that it is an actual event is good, as well as if I just received an email, I may or may not have a lot of weight behind it. So
Was the email that I got, was that like the official invitation that was going out to those individuals?
no,
No,
That
okay,
was to all the committee members saying, hey, we're having an event. We'd like you to come.
that was to city organizations. Yep,
There were
okay,
dozens of groups that got that email.
okay.
but it worked out great because we have our first panel.
Yeah, so I just jumped like on that because I know he said that.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay, that makes-
So correct me if I'm wrong, I have Brian Ritter, Dan Eastgate, Sister Kathleen Atkinson, Jasmine, President McDonald, and is there one more?
Downtowners.
The downtown.
Peter
That's
Dodd.
right, yep. Okay,
You can do Dan and Leander.
okay. That leaves the downtowners. If you'd like, I can reach out to them. Okay.
Yeah.
But who, how about Danny Skating's gonna reach out to
She
us?
said that.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
The school
You
board,
said
she's the one who said it.
Okay.
I would say we need to do this in like the next 2 days.
Yeah,
So I will have, this to them before they get here tomorrow.
Okay.
Wait, what time do you get to work? Jason, you get here before 8 a.m.?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, then I'll have it to them before they get to work.
So
So
to circle back, we're gonna call, you guys are gonna call them.
Yep.
Or however you're gonna communicate with them,
yep,
and then the city will send a letter on top of it,
correct.
an email.
letter via email.
Well, there was, I want to just specify, because I know there was confusion on our last letter or email.
It'll be emailed.
Okay.
A letter will be emailed.
I would say we could email them tomorrow,
That's
first thing, and then we just follow up with phone calls.
Yep.
That's what I would think. If they email them tomorrow morning, we could follow up within, I'd like Sergiana said, within 48 hours.
Yep.
And then how are we gonna go forward if some of them say no with the backups?
Then at that point, so what is today? Monday?
The day before
We
tomorrow.
always meet on Mondays, but
So it's been a Monday. I think by Thursday morning, we need to know responses of phone calls sent to admins so that they can compile and then email all of us and say, all of the panelists said yes, or 3 said yes and 2 are contemplating, so we have a game plan. At that point, then we can look, we would need finalization of backups by next Monday, like contact, I would think. We're, like I said, barreling down and people have busy schedules. Thank goodness it's the end of February. That's,
so then I think we need to prioritize who we want to ask next.
okay. Who were the backups?
Downtowners.
The backups were Mark Meyer with Evans Helpers, Erica Thunder, Holly Triska Dolly, Holly was with the State Refugee and Resettlement Office, and then Jan Stankiewicz. And she's with NDSU Extension. And I apologize, I'm blanking on Ms. Thunder's affiliation.
She was the North Dakota Labor and Human Rights Commissioner,
Yep.
and now she's been moved to. It's a new chair, like a new position with like.
I looked the other day too, and it didn't stick with me.
What was Holly's last name again?
Triska, and then it's hyphenated, and it's Dally, Dally.
That's right. Okay.
I think if the president of United Tribes can't make it, I think you ask Erica Thunder.
And I think if Jasmine can't make it, we ask Holly.
Yeah.
Call Erica.
Then if Sister Kathleen can't make it, you ask Mark.
Yep. Okay. And Jan would be if,
The downtowners.
okay,
So if Sister Kathleen or Jasmine can't, I can follow up with Mark or Holly right away.
yep. If President McDonald can't, then just follow up with Erica. And then I'll follow up with the downtowners. If they can't, I'll get a hold of Jan. I'll need to, does anybody know Jan?
I don't know who it is.
Okay, I'll follow up with Jan. No, I'd rather, just in case, if anyone else, I could get a hold of you and say, but I'll need to get contact info for Jan then. Okay, I think that's a great game plan.
So what was sent out to the city commissioners? Was this letter, Jason, or something different?
The letter that went out to everybody went to the commissioners as well,
We haven't had any responses from them.
to know if they're planning to attend. Not specifically that I can recall.
Right.
I did have a conversation with Commissioner Connolly about it 2 weeks ago. And he was interested in follow-up, because if you remember, he was here October meeting.
Yep.
And at that time, this group had discussed potentially having city commissioners as the panel members, and he was seeking clarification on that. And then I shared with him the 3 questions that were included in the email that went out, which were based on the document that you have in front of you.
Okay.
But he didn't commit to attending one way or the other, and I didn't ask.
Yeah, I've talked to him. I talked to him this afternoon. He hasn't committed yet. But it's still on his radar.
So do you think at some point, since our next meeting isn't till like right before it, that we need to reach out to the commissioners to see if they're coming? Because one of the main reasons that we did this is because they're saying that they want to community conversations. I like to, good to know if they're coming or not.
Is there next?
Tomorrow. And they meet again on February 13th, I think, and then it would be the 27th February. And your event is the 28th.
I talk to Mike Connolly 3 or 4 times a week because we're working on a different project together. And I'll ask him.
I would like to ask this committee do you think if we rephrase the questions we asked when we go to the city commission, and we just have, instead of a public, at the city commission meeting, actually just have a private ask of them, it might be better. We might get a better response than asking them at the city commission because we already did an ask at the city commission and we sent out an email and we're not getting responses.
Are you suggesting a personal invitation to each commissioner, or are you suggesting a one-on-one conversation about the 3 questions?
I think maybe a personal invitation.
Okay, I was much more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you individually contact each one, then we're gonna get into trouble with open meetings because you can't be having the same conversation with more than 2
I think a
outside of the
personal
commission
invitation.
meeting. So.
Yeah, personal invitation to them. Just letting them know that there may have been some misunderstanding that this was a back and forth conversation with them, but this is more of a listening session that we've helped facilitate
Yeah, we're not
for
going to put
their
them on the
knowledge. Yeah, we don't want them to think we're putting them on the spot with it.
Right.
Does that sound all right with the committee? Okay,
Does that come from the city of Bismarck emails or from one of us?
the human relations email.
You don't have.
The
You don't have
city of
emails.
Bismarck email with our,
We have a Bismarck administration email address, which is for our whole department. That's the address we use to send out the invitation to all the community members.
Yep. Can we do it with our logo on it or no?
There was a logo at the end of the letter.
There it is.
Sent.
Okay,
It's not in the printed one.
got it.
And then do you want me to construct that as well? Or do you guys prefer to construct?
If you would like to do it and send it to me, I'd be happy to send it to them. Perfect.
Do they let you know that, Jason, if they're gonna make it?
We would make that part of the email that we could just say, yeah. And we would want to know that because if there's 3 in a row, notice it as a meeting.
Yep.
So
Then do we do in regards to the organizations that we email this out to, do we do a reminder or a touch base like in a few weeks in regards to reminding them of the meeting? Because when I got it, it looked fishy to me and I almost didn't open it.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I kind of thought too, like I think it's just the way that the email itself pops up. It almost
Yeah.
looks like the phishing emails that you're supposed to keep an eye out for. Because it doesn't clarify that it's like Bismarck City Administration, I think, or something.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
So
But I think once I at least on my phone, I thought it was, but when I looked at it on my computer, I saw something that made me realize it was
Okay.
a deal.
Is what is really missing, whether it be from the commissioners or just out to the public and organizations, is really a mechanism for us to know who's coming, how many people, right?
And we wanted them to answer some of the questions beforehand, respond to the questions beforehand was the other thing.
Yeah, what gives them a chance to formulate a
And
response.
if they can't be there, to send their response beforehand, because we wanted to discuss that if I remember right.
Like for my DE&I council, I should send you the number of people who plan on attending. Okay. Get our SCPs.
Good deal.
Do we want to see if Elaine can do it? I mean, is that something a social media post is? But then, I mean, then it's opening it up to literally everybody. But is that something that we would want? Press release, I mean, like, would it be?
Seating is limited.
How many can that library hold? About 150?
150 was the number I had in my
I
head.
think so too.
Yeah, we're not, I'm not.
I don't
I think
foresee
that's
it.
gonna be the problem.
No,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, it's a community conversation. I believe at some point we should do a public release or a social media release. I don't think that should be our focus. I think that should just be right before. I think our effort should be in trying to gather these community organizations and key members of the community to try and bring them in to facilitate their conversation.
Is there any way we could get an email, I don't know when we want this, a list of who's all RSVP'd, so we can reach out to people that we gave as a contact, like Carl and I, know Kirsten from the ARC. If the ARC hasn't responded, Carl's on the committee, I'm on the committee, can reach out to see if they're gonna be there.
Tomorrow we can help with that. There's a reason there's usually two of us here, and it's because one of us knows how to navigate things and one of us doesn't. So because of the way we sent the email through the Bismarck admin email inbox, that doesn't come back directly to me. But it does come directly to Whitney. She can see it, I can't. So rather than give you false hope and say, I didn't get any responses, let us follow up with everyone tomorrow in an email.
Sure.
And we'll go from there.
Do you, if any of the addresses on that list that we initially had were inaccurate, do you need the updated ones? I know like Sacred Pipe, for example, just moved a
Okay.
few months back, and so it still has the Mandan address, not their new one, Bismarck. I don't know if
Did the
it's-
email address change?
The email address should be the same, I just wasn't sure if
Okay.
we needed the updated physical addresses or
I
not
think
for
we,
anything.
did you just send emails or did
I
you
just
just?
sent emails, but I just wasn't sure for.
Immediate. So, and so I will check with Whitney tomorrow. See who's responded. And also any emails that bounce back to. In case we don't have the current one. And we can send that list to everyone here.
I
know,
don't know
people that you
if
can-
there's anybody you think that we could add. I mean, we can send it out after the fact. It's a month before the event still, so they have time. We just put a compilation of all the people that we think or organizations we thought would benefit from this or would want to attend something like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that Wendy sent it out to us, if I remember right, because I edited it.
Yeah.
Because we added some addresses in there and contacts that weren't in there before. So if that could be sent out.
I want to say the list was close to 50 organizations.
Seemed like a lot, but
From your guys' perspective, who is the ideal audience to be a part of that conversation?
So the three questions that are related, like diversity in the city, what does it mean to you? How have you experienced adversities in Bismarck? And then how do adversities relate to crimes of hate? It's on there, so kind of we figured any community or organization that could provide perspective in those areas. So we had everything from what we used at Albert Resource Center, local neighbor.
Run the Margins, United Way, I think was on there.
Native Inc.
Native Inc. is in there, Sacred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if that second question that says what adversities have you gone through? So like for Dan, he'll be speaking like about our students.
Yeah.
You know, and he might have a personal story to share, but you know, maybe we should tweak or have like a second part of it where, or like your stakeholders that you're representing.
Have you or anyone you know experienced adversities in business?
So Jason, would it be possible to send the contact list and then I'll just compare?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it was in the minutes from the last time, but it wasn't.
I think when he sent it separately, if I remember right.
Yep.
Yeah.
When we sat down, us three.
You want me to send it to you, Jason?
I can look here too.
Well, but Sergiana updated all the information on there at our subcommittee meeting and forwarded that same one to Whitney. So Whitney probably has the most up-to-date and accurate one.
I think we added like between 5 and 10 organizations.
And you sent, Sergiana, you sent it to me on December 30th.
That's right.
So do you want me to run down the whole list?
Either one, I can look at it.
Forward. Can you
Yeah,
move forward?
sure, you can forward it to me.
Yeah.
I can look at it.
That also posted on our website.
The list?
No, the, what goes to them.
And so if I have additions, I send them to Jason
The
and
email
they'll
that
get.
was sent?
Okay.
Get to where they need.
We sent it to Whitney, but if she's the one who sent out your meetings,
Yeah.
she's the one who
Yeah.
deployed it, but you can send it to both. I usually try to send it to
Started
both.
that.
Okay.
And then it got over here.
And actually, I don't know if we have a lot of mental.
What's the conversation?
No, we can do substance use, like substance use video on there, but,
I don't even know if Fairview's on there.
what?
Thank you.
I was
Is Fairview on there?
Yeah, you have the
It's my Kathy from Fairview, yes.
Missy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, outstanding.
but
Where it
if
came
you
from.
think about, yeah, like, even just
They still run them.
practitioners who work with marginalized communities are willing to provide
Yeah.
some good insight into that too.
Okay, if we want to circle back. So we're looking at maybe adding in some more community connections to this. I think that you're right, we should have a second email and possibly even a third, a final, like the
Don't
week
forget.
of. Yep, we'd love to see you in a few days, you and anyone else interested. I think we can somewhat change the format each time, keeping with a standard, general format, but adding or removing a few parts. Does that sound about right?
When do we want to do the first one?
Let's look at our schedule. So if it's February 28th, today is the 22nd. I would say maybe what are good days to get emails? Monday is a definite
Tuesday,
no.
Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Maybe a Wednesday email on the 7th, February the 7th, and then February the 21st, or even Tuesday, the 27th to day before. That's,
The 7th, the 21st, and the 27th?
yeah, let's do 3.
Because it keeps it on people's radar. And we get some of them make it so it doesn't look like a
So
phishing.
don't
email.
forget.
Yeah,
Okay, so then do you want me, I think the 7th, we can send out the same one.
yep,
The 21st, I think we can shorten it. We're getting closer to this.
yep.
And then the 27th. And just be a, hey, please, like.
Can't wait to see you.
Yep.
You're gonna be there. We have homemade cookies.
Just the doggone. Follow up third one.
So I just need to remember this
Yep.
one more time. So the 7th can be the same one.
Yep,
The 21st, I'll shorten it, saying we're getting close to this event. We really would love your expertise. The 27th is like, can't wait to see you.
yep, and I think in there, we wanna just adjust that second question. Have you or
Yours, do we want to use the word stakeholders or have you or?
those you
Those who
advocate
serve.
for or serve?
Relation
Serve. Yep, that's a good one.
So then other Jason over here. So I'll construct the outlines for those emails if you guys are okay with it. Or you guys can just edit and tweak as you feel.
Appreciate that.
So I'm gonna be devil's advocate. Do we want to alter the last question at all?
I didn't even know that was a question.
I didn't think it was. I thought we had
Okay.
a different.
I thought so too. I just didn't want to. I don't know how we got to that question, and it could just have been, how we're communicating. In my mind, through our conversations, I thought we were stepping back from crimes of hate, though that was the initial conversation. We weren't the ones who brought that hate crime ordinance to the city commission. And so we want to show, we were hoping the community could discuss so they could understand where it comes from without having to use that trigger word. I could say.
Is crimes the trigger word?
Maybe the crimes of hate, crimes of hate, hate crimes. I mean, it sometimes I have experienced in this community that when it's phrased that way, the dialogue just shuts down. And we're unable to have a dialogue about what's really behind it, which is diversity within the community and the adversities you face being of a diverse population.
Who's got a thesaurus? That's another word for crime.
Yeah.
In an email that you sent.
No one can find, no one can find.
This mysterious email.
But when I sent this to Whitney, I did specify the 3 questions that you had, so maybe this was the one.
I just don't think it was because,
So we kind of,
You look at all,
yes,
we kind of have a question about like the present, the past. Should that third question be kind of about building for the future?
yeah. That sounds amazing.
I was gonna say, if you wanted to keep it related to that, but just change the word, it could even be like sense of belonging or something, you know. Belonging is the new, like, big softer word instead of using DE&I.
yes. Yeah, when I talk about the TE and I work that I do at the federal level, they're like, what?
Like,
Yeah.
what impact do adversities have to your sense of belonging? Or something like that.
I also do like the idea of thinking of how you build towards the future to become a more inclusive and welcoming.
There's a segment of our population that really has no idea how truly diverse our community has become. And as a result of that, there's a whole segment of our population of all nationalities and abilities, disabilities, or whatever you want to call them, that are marginalized. So
While we're delving into language too, I think coming in as an outsider, have you experienced adversities in Bismarck? As someone that just talks about problems all day, it's like adversities related to what, right? Like, do we want them to delve into issues of like social determinants of health and poverty and historical trauma and colonialism, like all of those things? Or do we, have you experienced discrimination and like maybe pulling in some other words as well as adversities? I don't know. I just, of course, you're going to assume that a community conversation around diversity and adversity is going to lead them in that direction. But in my recent experience holding some like forums, people really go off of that. So I think maybe we need to go back to, because I wasn't a part of that, is what are the narratives that the city commissioners really feel like they need to hear in relation to that crime of hate ordinance? Is it how it's defined? Is it what are the things that are happening in the community that have made people feel marginalized? And what are some ideas of how we make a difference? I like what you said of like something like really hopeful and actionable at the end. So sorry, that just messed all of
are we
it.
ready to press to this?
Yes, we should. To your point, all that was really asked, and correct me because there were more than just myself at this meeting. It was 2, possibly 3 hours of public testimony. And then at the end of it, it was stated, we just feel there have not been enough public conversations about this for them to make a decision at that time. Was that kind of?
That's what I remember.
And so we were hoping then to have public conversations about exactly what people were talking about for the 3 hours of presentation, but more expanded, which was moving here as a new American and feeling as if they aren't able to keep roots here because they aren't welcome. And so they come and move here and immediately they move away within a short period and aren't able, they want to invest and become a part of the community, but don't feel welcome. The longstanding issues with Indigenous populations within our city. And the dismissal of that doesn't really happen. The LGBTQ community that had brought conversations of not feeling safe within this community by being out or being who they feel they are. Those with disabilities, being able to even access services within the city or have a voice. What else am I missing? And I think that's where we kind of garnered the community stakeholders. Some of them were already present at that conversation, so that it would allow them more space to. The letter we're hoping, because we can't have everybody up on the stage, is that we're hoping that they'll give input as to all of those things. And then those topics will be compiled and then allowed for the panelists to discuss those relevant topics.
Concern is if we switch the questions, they already got these questions. Nothing else, oh, just kidding, these aren't the ones we're gonna ask you.
I think we can expound on them without having to lose focus. So I agree. I don't think we want to change it up after an initial email is gone, but I believe we can expound upon it and give it a little more,
Focus,
yes, or
Just say
clarity.
focus.
focus.
I think if we're gonna change anything, it'd probably be the third. I think the other ones are fine. I was getting like a little nitpicky, but.
No, that's okay. This is why we're all here.
Yes.
This is literally why we're here.
That the fungus.
Yeah. So I feel like we could expound the second one to maybe be a little clearer, because I hear what you're saying. They don't hear what our vision is. Do you think they hear it in the rest of the email?
Because I agreed that we should be a little bit, because people read and hear what they want. But it is a community conversation forum on diversity and adversity.
Okay.
And I feel like if we get too wordy with adversities, then people may think like access to transit isn't what we're talking about, which, so if we dive into too many specific words, people may not feel like their adversities are what we're talking about when it really may be. That would be my hesitation.
Can we phrase it in a way where I'm on diversity and connected to adversity in a way, not just and? Do you see what I'm saying?
I think we could maybe clear this up by like, could we have like a meeting with the panelists and like kind of go a little bit more into detail so that they have time to prepare, and then
Oh, yes.
and it's just kind of like the questions can say whatever you're moderating, and they have that like a little bit more robust background information.
That's a very simple solution, because then if we don't get too much buy-in through questions from these organizations, we can focus more on, we really would like you there, even if you don't have questions or answers to these questions. And then I think this panel is a diverse, representing many different areas of the community. What is everyone's thoughts?
Still think possibly for the third though,
Okay.
could use. Because people may be scared to even come bring their, so maybe how do these adversities relate to your quality of life in Bismarck or something? I'm comfortable with crimes of hate personally, because that's what but
It might just depend too on your specific individuals and like whether they relate their experience to be actually considered a crime of hate, or if it's just maybe something more broad. Because I think of like, for example, from like a Sanford perspective, we probably can't give as much directly in that space of calling it that. Now, we can talk about experiences that my nurses or physicians and others have had, whether it be in our specific walls or even further out in the community. But maybe not to what people sometimes, at least individually, define as a crime of hate.
Crimes of hate. Would it be more so, because I hear some like future, you know, where the future. What are ways to address adversity to keep you within this community, to get buy-in? I don't know a way to phrase it. Does that make sense? What adversities are stopping you from investing within this community? Or, I don't
We're
know.
not asking the panelists that. What adversities are stopping the population you serve from
Right.
investing in the community? Be a better way to phrase it.
You
I
know,
think too, just being mindful of the way we word it and like not leading too much, like
Right.
and making the assumption, oh, you're automatically going to leave. That is experience of a lot of people, but not everybody necessarily. And so just keeping it more relatable.
If we change just the word crimes to how do these adversities relate to behaviors of hate? And it's not a crime, but they're experiencing the behaviors. What's that? My concern too is if we keep it crimes of hate, we're not going to get the buy-in from the commissioners. Like, that's a
Agreed.
genuine concern of mine.
I'm
And
glad
that's
you said
Like
that.
our target audience.
Yeah,
Yeah, so my concern is if we leave the word crime, they're gonna think it's very specific to that, and that's not our intention. So, I mean,
100%. I'm open with any third question. I just feel like the reason we may not be getting buy-in is that, I'm
I,
not gonna lie.
I mean, to me, if I hear how do these adversities relate to behaviors of hate, that would take it into what I've witnessed that, you know, I mean, like, I think we can all say that we witnessed behaviors of hate. So there are people that experience it.
I wonder too if just the ask is entirely clear
Okay.
in the email, because even I, sitting on here, had to like read through it a couple of times to like at least kind of get the idea and then remind myself, oh, I'm not just supposed to RSVP, I'm supposed to send you an email. My thoughts on this beforehand.
Okay,
I made a note of that to stress that we want responses via email.
It
okay.
says, please respond to this email with any comments regarding the vote questions.
It does. I don't know, the way I read it.
Yeah,
maybe
I
the first
think if
time.
we shorten, I'll shorten it a little bit and get more to the, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I've got that notated.
Okay. I'm all right with this being reformatted.
How do these I can't even say it.
Advertisements?
Adversities connect to larger themes of discrimination, oppression, and marginalization.
Cause then you get the word hate out of there.
Yes.
You get the word.
So like, let's say, Gabby, how would you answer that? So just thinking about like a Sanford example. So have you experienced, or have you or the people that you serve experienced adversities in Bismarck? They would give maybe a specific example. How do you think a Sanford person would answer that question? How do these adversities connect to larger themes of discrimination, oppression, and marginalization? Does that sound too abstract? Does that sound like intimidating too? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it kind of like depends on who it comes from. There's like, I'm not going to necessarily
Yeah.
survey all of my individual employees, but it's more of recognizing the things that are important to me and my roles.
Yeah.
But also I've worked directly in the DE&I space, so those are words I use like every day.
I think the general theme of that question is good. Actually, I love the question, but I agree, it may be not as accessible for every org that we're dealing with. But I like the reformatting of it.
What about if we just use discrimination?
Okay.
Most people feel that it's discriminated. I think a lot of these populations are discriminated against, and they could give you an example. I could give you 100 disabilities being discriminated against.
Okay,
Probably gonna give you one about them being oppressed though.
marginalized.
That's a word.
Okay,
I think that's, yeah, another term to use, like you kind of put it into a very small, yeah. Because
Okay,
a lot of people don't always love being, well, they're marginalized too.
Out of these adversities, I like the idea of connecting how they feel connected to the community.
yeah,
Like, how do they impact your connectedness to your sense of belonging in this part? Like that.
A sense of community or.
okay.
How do these adversities connect to larger from your, what did you say? Sense of belonging?
Yeah, that or sense of community or.
Sense of community?
You belonging because you probably find community within others who have similar experiences to you.
The sense of community would typically include belonging.
This is productive. It is.
But it's like,
And
you're not home.
sometimes it feels like we're butting heads,
Yeah.
but that's good. This is how we work. I'm always like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm so grateful by the end of the day to be hanging with
I
all
don't
of
think we're
you.
even putting heads.
Yeah, as I say, this is headbutting, this is very calm for that.
Okay.
How do, like, how? Cause the experiences of the people are directly impacting how they belong here. Which could end up.
No,
Well,
we're
we're
going
just
to that,
missing a
like, the
bit.
goal is, you know, uplifting or giving an opportunity to share diverse narratives of their experience, which typically when we see like our commissioners, you know, like the people who create laws in North Dakota, like they typically have their North Dakotan, German, Russian, Norwegian, like background. And this is giving pretty much that sector like an opportunity to hear from like a diverse, like sense of community, sense of belonging from.
What does it look
How-
like from a different perspective?
I know we wanna look forward,
Yeah.
but I feel like even if we ask it, like, how have these experiences impact your sense of belonging in Bismarck? It's gonna give them an opportunity to say how they, like, how we
Yeah.
can improve it to
Yeah.
make it. Okay, what it is.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's being recorded.
Oh, yeah.
Belonging in Bismarck. These
Okay.
experiences. Okay.
So that's our third question.
Yes.
And our second question
Have you,
was
how have you or the people you serve experienced diversity?
adversity or
Yeah.
discrimination? Adversity / discrimination?
So when I
Just
said,
adversity.
when I said meeting, I meant with the panelists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
100%. I think that's a really
you'll
good
be
idea.
moderating, you know, that's.
Yep. Okay, so
Okay.
let's just review really quick. What are the 3 questions?
3 questions, diversity in the city and what does it mean to you? Have you or those you serve experienced adversities in Bismarck? And how do these experiences impact your sense of belonging in Bismarck? Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay, and then I just need a wrap up for me.
yep,
So I'm gonna condense this slightly with the new ones.
yep,
That's gonna be the one that they can send out the 7th. I'll have another one even shorter for the 21st, but the one for, when I revamp this, we're gonna stress we need their responses.
yes.
And then I'm gonna create one for an invitation for the panel specifically. Yes,
Yes,
Send out tomorrow.
send it up, yes.
yep. And we want to do personal invitations
city
to the
commission
city
only.
commission.
That one will probably get done,
Not by
I
tomorrow.
would say by Thursday.
They already have a save the date from when I talked to them in person, even though I botched.
No, it was great, but their meeting is tomorrow.
Yeah,
Good time, get it to them by Thursday, that'll give some time.
and
We actually want homemade cookies.
I
Are we allowed to do that?
Are we allowed to do that, Jason?
believe so, yes. I think we can bring anything.
For our event, for our last event, we had food. The one,
Which one?
the 20th.
Well, the anniversary. Did we all pay out of pocket, right?
We did, but I think we have a budget now, but what I
I
would
don't think
recommend,
we
what I'd
can
be
buy-
happy to donate, oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
can donate. What I would recommend for that though, because our meeting is the, it's only 2 days. Because my concern is if we I think we should wait till we get an idea of roughly how many people are coming before we make any food decisions.
When the commission meets, do they get like portfolios for their meeting? Could we just have like a save the date reminder?
Bing bong,
For tomorrow?
not tomorrow. That already went out, I believe, right?
No, so when the commissioners get mail delivered to this building, we generally collect it and we'll put it at their workstations in front of every commission meeting. So they'll get 2 weeks worth of paper mail tomorrow at the table.
And we'll just slip a little save the date in there.
Day. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah, give it to me. Look forward to it right now. Thank you.
Or we could just
Take a
do
picture
the,
of all of us.
I was just, we could do the actual flyer that we're gonna post on social media with, or meet and greet with city commissioners and mayor after the meeting.
Do we need one of us to create a flyer or does Caitlin do that?
Kalen is out on vacation this week. We need something. The first date would be the 7th. Is that what I heard?
Yep. You're right.
I can sure
I mean, I'm
touch base with him next week at this time. And
like,
that
I
gives us a week yet.
also want to take, stuff off of your guys' plate that you don't need. Like, if he's okay, I can.
Now, if you want to
it.
do it, I'm sure he would say thank you.
As long as I have until there's no way I can do it by tomorrow, but I mean, if I have through the weekend, by Monday, I can get into, because we have an inspection Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I can get it done by Monday morning for him.
Okay.
I mean, if I know it's not gonna make it in their thing tomorrow.
I can whip one up.
Just save the date.
Just to save the date, yeah. Yeah, nothing like elaborate. but
We
just-
want it printed on bright orange or yellow.
We have all sorts of colored paper here. If you send it to Whitney and I, we can get it for sure.
Put it on each person's favorite color.
Yeah.
This is their favorite color.
Okay, so you'll
This is really personalized.
save the date,
Yeah.
but I'll do an actual social media.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm hearing this right, our nice little recap is this. We are going to, Tia is going to be organizing a few emails to send to the city admins to get out to the entire list, of which there may be additions from Katie Hool of community partners. And that's for anybody. If you suddenly are realizing, oh my gosh, we may have forgotten someone, let the
I was
city.
thinking about
admins-
different departments that we didn't ask. So we asked the Department of Health, but we didn't ask the police department.
Mm,
Oh.
Okay,
So I was thinking that the other day, so I'll think.
okay,
Fired. I just like thinking too about all the emergency planning stuff. That'd be good to have.
Yeah,
Families
Gary
listen
would
to
be a
this.
good one to,
okay.
yeah.
So circling back, well, and that's okay. So we will, Tia's formatting some emails that will be sent to city admin, adjusted emails with a schedule that we just talked about with some additional community partners that anybody can get together and send in to Jason. There will also be a save the date reminder that Sassy will be getting out so that it'll get in the portfolios tomorrow, as well as a social media flyer. Ooh, that was rough. Flyer that Teal will be coming up with.
Can I ask a quick question, Jason? Just as I'm thinking about context, do we want this to sort of the more like public services, like human services, service center, child welfare, law enforcement, stuff like that? Okay.
Just like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that would be
Okay.
amazing. Any contacts you have with emails.
Okay.
So that's that part of this little moving piece. The other part is our panel that we need to address immediately. In reaching out to all of them, so we all know who we'll be touching base with within the next 48 hours. Hopefully begging their forgiveness for if we need an immediate response. And those invites, are we going to need another email format
So
for the panel?
yeah, that's what I'm gonna have
Under-
here tomorrow.
under
morning.
list.
They
Okay.
can send out the email tomorrow.
There's a panel invite and then reformatted 3 emails and a flyer. Okay, whew,
But I
Should
got
get
time
time to
for-
do
I got
most.
time for some of them.
okay,
Panel one tomorrow is the most
Got it.
important one.
okay. So that email will go out tomorrow and then we'll be following up within 48 hours with calls. Bless you. For Mr. Eastgate, Sister Atkinson, Jasmine, President McDonald, and the downtowners. The backups for that would be Mark Meyer, Holly Triska Daly, Erica Thunder, and Jan Stankowitz. Whew, okay. Once those are put in order, we need to let city admin know as soon as possible about those panelists, including myself, because I'm traveling all week. So that I can help coordinate. I would need a notice from the city with all of their contact and confirmations. So I can help coordinate a meet and greet with them. Whether that's all together or if I have to do it one by one, that's gonna be 7 meetings to give them the questions and explain exactly what we're trying to do. So that they are prepared with the questions and kind of what the vision of this panel is before we get to it, because I feel they should have time to invest in this and not just a week or 2 before the event.
I'm hoping that it's not gonna have to be, and I can help you too, Jason, with that, but I'm hoping that it's not gonna have to be like each of them separately. I'm hoping you can just have like maybe 2 different meetings. Times that would work for one group and one would be for another group, so you don't have to do 7 different meetings.
Possibly, but all of them are extremely busy people within the community. So I want to make this as accessible to them. I'm willing to even do Zoom, but I'd prefer in person just because. Am I missing any? Oh, and then we maybe need volunteers for people who want to bring snacks or treats from this committee.
What time is this at again?
6 PM to 8 PM. Simple. Okay,
I can help with snacks too.
okay,
I can bring like a bottle of water and mix
Perfect.
in powders.
yeah, perfect.
Everyone's flavor water.
Yep,
Okay.
I'll be able to not baking cookies, but I can get some trays from Walmart or Costco.
You're
I
gonna say-
label it with nuts, can I bring things that have nuts as long as it has a clear label?
Yes.
So I can make fun.
Yeah, I didn't
It
know you.
seems like a good event for that.
Yeah. I'll probably, yeah, I was thinking I'll hit up Little Odessa and maybe like, I'll go talk to. Come on, Jason. You eat there all the time. This is a great day. Puerto Rican bakery down on Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Never been there, but
Coqui,
Yes.
El Coqui. Yes. Okay. Okay, so we have some ideas. Anything you feel that we've missed? Or additions, adjustments?
Question if I may, if I understand right, certain HRC members are reaching out to panelists one-on-one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got Sassy reaching out to Dan and Leander. Sister Kathleen, who was Tia, okay. Downtowners, Jason.
Yep.
And then Jasmine was
Yep.
Tia, and then Brian Ritter's committed.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Whoop, whoop. If everyone feels secure with this, then we will move on. If needed, we may, if suddenly something starts falling apart, I may reach out to city admin and see if we can call a quick like coffee house meeting where we would just try and pull together whoever is able to.
We do a Teams meeting too.
Yay.
I'm not a fan of Teams either.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, everybody. That was an amazing follow-up and we are barreling towards it and I feel comfortable and excited for this. So it's been a long time coming.
Jason and I had a lot of discussions with people that were at the Martin Luther King thing and they
Yeah.
were excited about it, the ones we talked to.
Thrilled.
So, and Jason gave out his phone number to all the people. I'm like, good for you, Jason.
I'd love that for you.
Yeah, but next, starting tomorrow, you can say, I'm not the chair anymore, don't call me.
No. All right, that moves into our last agenda, second to last agenda item, equity and emergency management planning update. I turn it over to Tia.
So I was hoping to have that to Gary. We met on the 30th roughly.
Yep.
I just finally got it to him this weekend. I was really sick with RSV for 2 weeks. So he just got everything. I'll follow up with him on Thursday of this week and just see if he needs anything else from us. But all I really did was provide him a list of our resources. The POC forum and the community specifically. It was, I didn't deviate really a whole lot from, he gave kind of what their structure and, so we should be good there. I'll let you guys know if he needs anything else from us.
Good.
Perfect. Thank you. Any
Yeah.
questions, concerns, comments? All right, that rolls right into the last agenda item, other business.
I have two things. One's not directly committee related. What's an FYI, but well, the first one is next month. I probably won't be here for the meeting or the event because I have to go to Mayo for some testing. And then the other item, which isn't committee related, but will be of interest to the people on the committee, is I'm a co-sponsor for an initiated measure for a half-cent city sales tax. And 2/10 of that half-cent will go to transit specifically. The other 3/10 are gonna go to fire and rescue and police and costs associated with the detention center. So, thank you. That's all I've got.
I also have two things.
Okay.
Of course. When do we want to start the nominations for the humanitarian of the year for 2023?
That was also one of my two things. So
Okay.
Next meeting.
I know we talked about too having then a reset standard time to do it every year, just so we don't fall behind again.
I think we should start the nominations in the spring, close them in midsummer. And then vote in September. So
I think we should, yes, and I think October is our big date because that's the
Yeah.
month that HRC started, so I think that we should be
ready
giving it
to
out in
give out that
October.
award.
Utilizing that date.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
That month.
about every 3 months. So if we do it at the beginning of the next month or at the end of next month, we can open the nominations and then close them in like May. And then we can have some time to review them and vote on them. And then get the word out.
Historically, how long do we have the nominations open for?
Month.
A month.
Looking to do something in connection with October, is that what I heard?
Yes,
Presentation, yeah.
Closing them in May would be a little premature.
Okay.
I want to open them in
you may.
May. Yeah, to order the award was like 2 weeks, say a month. If you do a month for nominations, a month for the award, I want to have it close in August. You're gonna do it in October.
Yeah, the big thing is to be sure that we're ready to do it in October on the anniversary.
If it closes in August, then we can give us the month prep for this to vote on this in the September meeting.
Yeah. That works.
Right, my second thing is, someone aside from me doing the annual report this year, or would you like me to do it again? I have all the pictures, and if someone else wants to do them, I can send them all the pictures, but I have all the pictures from the events for 2023
When is it typically done?
March. And I'm gonna start it sooner than later because it takes a couple hours at least.
How is it formatted in Adobe or?
I don't remember, it's whatever. I don't remember what it
Whatever's
is.
given to you.
Whatever's given to me, I've used the same thing.
Paper document.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's Word. I don't mind doing it again. I just would like time to do it because in the past I've done it like
You don't want to do it last second?
real close.
Okay. I would be interested in learning.
Okay,
if you'd be willing, I will co-do it with you
Okay.
so that going forward, I can do it if you don't want to, or we could go back and forth.
And I think that we could present it together. I don't think one, or you could, whatever. I don't think just one person needs to present it either.
No.
Like, I don't need to be up there talking for our entire year. We could split up the year or split up
No.
events or
It
something.
would actually, I think, the more people organized that we could have presented, even little chunks of it, the better. 'Cause then it shows the commission we are actively involved to work for committee as well.
And it would be a support in the presentation of it.
I wonder if we could each like tail an event. Like I talk about Pride or whatever.
Yeah.
Jason talks about MLK, just as long as we were at that event, because I know Sassy was at Pride, maybe she could talk about Pride. I was at MLK or whatever, talk about that. And then, or the library thing I was at too,
Podcast.
the podcast. So I think that'd be
Yeah.
good actually to spread it out. Jason and I could probably write it, or if anybody else wants to come along with us, but we could then spread it out who can be there.
It's easily adaptable. I wouldn't mind learning how you do it too, but if I have to learn any platform.
I think it's Word, I really
I
do.
tried doing newsletter in Adobe and it.
I would have February 3rd open.
So were you looking at that March again to present it?
You,
What are the city commission meetings this March?
second and fourth Tuesday, what is that, like the 12th and 27th or something like that? 14th and 28th?
Tuesday, you said?
Yep.
12th and 26th. I can't do the 26th, I have power of 100.
Can't do the
And I don't want to do the 12th.
The 8th.
Then it would be April 9th and 23rd.
Yes.
I can do it the 9th.
And public library, sorry.
The 9th of April.
Of April.
So to present.
Present it.
Yes, what time? 5:15.
Okay, so can you see if we can get it on then, Jason?
You can do that.
On the agenda then.
Annual. It's a rough one, folks. Okay,
How long in advance do we have to get that to you, Jason?
Agenda items are due 1 week prior.
Private.
What's the second? First or second, yeah.
Jason, what was the time again?
6 PM to 8 PM, public library. And then I'll need you to show me how to do that in my phone. All right, are we good with that? Okay, any other new business or other business?
I was looking at the website and it has like the human rights essay contest and like the last one was 2020, but then also the flyer for that is 2022. So I don't know, like, is that something that this committee is moving forward with continuing, or like, do we remove the flyer
So this committee has tried that for a number of years and has had waning uptake.
Yeah.
That's what I figured based off of that. I just, 'cause it still says learn how to enter your essay, so then.
So you're saying we should update our web pages?
That's what I'm wondering if we should do that, yeah.
One thing to that point, Gabby, that we had talked about, and I can't remember if you were here, is developing that into a updated format of social media or, you know, any type of updated presentation of what that could be instead of just an essay. Of, you know, an AV type thing, a TikTok,
Art
art, TikTok, social media, anything to do with it. But that kind of was stagnated. We had our 20th anniversary and then started planning for this.
It would be a great topic of discussion, or maybe like our March meeting, how, because I think re-engaging the youth would be a great thing to do.
At this point, I think it would be beneficial to just pull it off of the page. Unless there's any objections. I did notice that too the other day. I was like, oh,
I also did notice today that they already added the humanitarian of the year for this year on there, so that was nice. And the new committee members too are on there, so.
nice.
It's a good name.
All right,
Super quick. just an update on the podcast.
Yep.
In the last 30 days, we've had 160 downloads, and that does not include our radio folks, which doesn't sound like a whole lot,
Which
but
is
I
Jason
think
Dominic
it's,
and Jason.
Heard the last one on the radio.
I think,
I
Jenny Matala, since the first, she's already had 18 listens. Sassy, she's not in here, but she's actually our second highest listened to in the last 30 days.
Nice.
So,
And that's on all platforms?
yeah, Spreaker, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast.
I don't know
Spotify.
I don't know how accurate it is. I'm sorry to tell you. I think our numbers are higher than that
I do too.
because I've listened on Spreaker and then went on and it hasn't, even after 24 hours, it's not there.
Yeah, so, but
So, and I know which one I listen to,
Still-
because you can choose which one you listen to.
Streaming in the basement. To get the numbers.
and I'll ask Justin, because it says downloads, so if people aren't
Oh.
downloading and are just streaming, it may
Yeah.
not be in, because I don't download them, I just stream them.
I just
So-
stream.
That's what I do
Whatever that-
too, so.
But
Okay,
I just am excited because I think we're getting better and better, and
yeah.
even the ones that we don't think are gonna turn
Actually,
out.
one of our favorites was
Actually-
Robert Fuller, and she was
Yeah, I was a little hesitant on it, so it's going well.
the next one.
Okay,
Good.
just a reminder to everybody, if there are people you feel would be great, they're always taking applicants, names,
Guest recommendation.
guest recommendations. for
We are
future.
not.
Okay, good,
Because we recorded so much.
nice, you deserve a break. I just had one last thing. So just a quick reminder that this Community Conversations Forum, in my hope, and I think the committee feels the same, is this is the first of many community conversations. I think this could take off the same way that the podcast did. And if we become consistent with it, it could be an unbelievable way to start engaging our community the way that Fargo or other communities have been able to engage. Stutzman County HRC just played,
Davis, that's, you
yeah.
one in Jamestown?
yep, just had a showing of 1946. Movie about when the word homosexual was added to the Bible, and it had a huge turnout.
I had no idea they even had an HRC.
Yep. So I've been trying to keep up and find every HRC in the state to see how they're doing.
We can,
Nope.
you can take a ride there.
And so I think, that community engagement and being consistent with it suddenly changes a perspective and a dynamic in its city quickly. The other thing is, with our forum being within our community, do we want anyone to open up that? Do we want to invite a drum circle? Do we want to have a reverend of anything? Do we want someone an invocation of sorts to
You know,
open
I
it?
think who would be good, Gretchen from the Church of Christ.
Okay,
I don't know, I thought she did a good job at the Martin Luther King. Not that we shouldn't have a drumstick or anything else, but I think she did. And Sassy's not here, but we invite drumsticles, do you have to pay them? Because we had to pay them for the 20th anniversary.
yep.
And I suppose we can use our funding from, use some from Bismarck Public Schools for 20th.
I wonder, whoever did that invocation at the Veterans Day event. Or, yeah, it was incredible because they incorporated Indigenous, I mean, it was like a very well-rounded.
So,
Land acknowledgement.
Yeah, I did feel like I was being
Yep.
great.
thank you. I think maybe if we all want to email admin with some invocation ideas, that might be a good way to just have a conversation, and that could be a coffee meeting halfway through the month where we finalize a few things. Does that sound all right, Jason? Sure. To the 83.
Oh, wonderfully.
I'm gonna do.
It's like, geez,
Yeah, there's-
Wayne has been gone.
Okay,
Are we in person or?
We're on Zoom or Face Teams or something, it's virtual.
Yeah, because Megan's up in.
Yeah.
Langdon.
I have nothing else. Thank you, everybody.
Where we
Can I
feel
do
we
a
start.
motion to adjourn?
You don't need that.
Nope, nope.
I always forget.
It's not in Robert's.
I do some people that I don't.
It's been an honor serving all of you. Thank you.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Do I officially start next meeting though, right? Do you